All right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that everyone in sales has a strong opinion on. Cold calling. Is it
Well,
dead, or is there still some life left in it?
yeah.
To help us unpack this, we've got a ton of data and
Oh.
research. But thankfully,
Uh,
we also have the closers joining us. They've built a career on turning cold calls into closed deals.
I appreciate you having me. I'm
Yeah.
excited to dive in.
Let's get right to it. In today's world,
Mhm.
with spam filters and instant messages everywhere, is cold calling even relevant?
It's a question I get a lot. And to be honest with you, it's changed a lot. But when you think about it, there's so much noise that a good, well-done call can cut right through that.
Right, it's like cutting through the clutter.
Exactly.
We actually found some research that backs that up. Cold calling has, surprisingly, a 4.8% success rate.
Yeah, it's more than a lot of people think. And what's even more interesting is that almost half of buyers actually prefer to be contacted over the phone.
Wow, that's a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Especially with all the digital ways to reach out to people.
It is, but it really shows the human element.
Yeah.
A phone call lets you have a real conversation, answer questions, and build that rapport. You can't do that digitally.
You just can't replicate that back and forth.
Nope.
Our sources actually say that a lot of C-level execs would rather get a call than anything else.
Absolutely. For those busy decision makers, it's so much better to have a quick conversation than digging through emails. It shows respect for their time.
So it sounds like cold calling isn't going away, but we need to modernize how we do it.
It needs a makeover.
A makeover.
Yeah.
We need to stop thinking about it as just spraying and praying. It should be targeted and provide value. The focus should be on starting a relationship, not just pushing a product.
That's right.
Okay, so we agree that cold calling has a future. Our source material has some specific strategies that we can try. Let's start at the beginning with how we start the call. What are some mistakes that we should avoid?
One of the biggest ones is asking weak questions right out of the gate. Questions like, did I catch you at a bad time? Or is this a good time to talk?
You're giving them an out before you even start.
Exactly.
But you would think being polite like that would be a good thing.
It's not about being rude. It's about being engaging and providing value. So instead of asking for their time, try offering something of value immediately. Something like a recent trend in their industry. Maybe a problem they could be facing. Or even someone you both know.
So we're trying to get them hooked from the very first word.
You want to keep them on the line and hear what you have to say. For example, instead of saying, do you have a minute to talk about your marketing strategy? You could try something like, I saw that you launched a new product line. I've been helping businesses just like yours increase leads by 15% using a targeted content strategy. Would you be open to talking about how we can do the same for you?
That's a much better approach. It's specific, it focuses on the benefits, and it starts a conversation without being too pushy.
You're coming across as an expert, not just a salesperson, someone who can actually help them.
So we've got them on the hook. Now, how do we keep the conversation going? How do we build that relationship?
This is where you need to tell a story. Instead of giving them the same old pitch, tell them about a time you helped another client, someone who was facing the same challenges.
People love stories. It helps them see how your solution could actually work.
Exactly. So let's say you're selling software to help manage projects. You could tell them about a team you worked with who was missing deadlines and going over budget. By using your software, they were able to get 20% more projects completed on time and reduce their costs by 15%.
Those are numbers any business leader would love. It's way better than just saying, our software makes you more efficient.
It is. But remember, storytelling is only part of it. You also have to ask the right questions.
That's what I was just thinking. It's not enough to just talk at them. We have to understand their needs and challenges.
Your question should get them talking about their pain points, what their priorities are, and what they're trying to achieve. You could ask, what are your biggest obstacles to hitting your revenue goals this quarter? Or, what are you focusing on to improve your sales team's performance?
Those are some great questions. They get the prospect talking, and you come across as a consultant who wants to help, not just someone trying to sell them something.
And while they're answering, make sure you're listening, take notes, and ask follow-up questions. You want to show that you understand their situation.
Like they say, people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
That's right. Building that relationship is key.
So we've talked about the opening, telling stories, and asking the right questions. But this is 2024. We have to talk about technology. How can we use tools and automation to help us?
You're right. A CRM or a customer relationship management system can really make a difference.
For those who might not know, can you explain what a CRM is? And how it helps with cold calling?
A CRM is like a hub for everything you do. It keeps track of your prospects, helps schedule calls, lets you take notes, and analyzes data all in one place.
It's like having a personal assistant for all your sales activities.
Yeah, it helps you stay organized and efficient. And most CRMs today have calling features built right in. Imagine clicking a button and it dials the prospect for you, logs the details of the call, and even records the conversation so you can listen back later.
That would be a game changer for any sales leader. No more spreadsheets and sticky notes. You can finally focus on building relationships.
And the data you get from those calls is amazing. You can analyze what's working, identify patterns, and even change your approach based on the results.
So it's not just about making more calls. It's about being smarter with the calls we make.
Exactly. That's the power of cold calling. It's about combining the human touch with all the technology we have to create a personalized experience.
It sounds like that perfect blend of art and science.
Yeah.
We're always talking about in sales.
Right.
We've debunked the myths, talked about new strategies, and even explored the world of CRMs. As we wrap things up, what are the 3 biggest things you want our listeners to take away?
First, cold calling is alive and well, but it has changed. It needs to be modern and focused on adding value. It's all about building relationships, not just selling a product.
That's a really important shift in how we think about it. What's number 2?
Don't forget the basics. Craft a great opening line. Use stories to connect with people. Ask insightful questions. And really listen to what they have to say.
Those are all critical, no matter how you're communicating. And finally, number 3.
Use technology to your advantage. Those CRM systems can really streamline everything, and they provide insights you wouldn't have otherwise.
Those are some great points. What's one thing our listeners can do this week to start improving their cold calling?
I would say take a look at your opening line. Does it grab their attention? Offer something of value? Or make them curious? If not, it might be time to try something new. Experiment a little, see what works for you.
Awesome advice. One last question for our listeners. If you could pick just one of the strategies we talked about to change how your team does cold calling, which one would it be and why? Let us know on social media or send an email. We really do read every message. Huge thanks to the closer for joining us. This deep dive on cold calling was packed with information. Until next time, keep learning and keep crushing those sales goals.